to Between Awesome and Disaster. This is your host, Will Gary. Thank you for listening. I apologize for the sound of my voice. I've been hit by a cold the past couple days, and it's got me sounding like I'm ready to record my Tom Waits tribute album. I've been on the chamomile tea and drinking Dayquil like it's Sunny D. So hopefully that doesn't last with me too well. Otherwise, you think, I imagine some of you might think, did the host of this show change? Nah, it's still me. I just sound like the tobacco-drenched voice of a 70s lounge singer that maybe I was in my past life. Random place for the intro to go, but I feel that it follows suit for the show that I have for you today. On the podcast today, podcaster, actress, Katharine Heller, whose podcast Tell The Bartender I did around this time last year, and I hadn't seen her since we did that episode of her show, and it was really great to sit down and talk with her again, because this conversation went to some places that I did not expect, and I learned some things, and there are some crazy fun and interesting stories that we learned. I learned about Katharine's path through the entertainment business, be it early auditions, early voiceover work, and just kind of the fun kind of things that you look back on when you're starting out. And Katharine, if my memory serves me correctly, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is my third born and raised native New Yorker on the show, after Sam Haft and Neruda Williams. So any New Yorkers listening to the show today, you got one of your own, and it's a great chat, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. If you guys are enjoying the show and you want a free gift that you can give me this holiday season, tell someone about you think might like the show about it. I'm trying to grow this organically, and you're part of what helps that. So thank you again if you enjoyed the show enough, not only to listen to it, but to tell someone else about it. And we are on iTunes and Stitcher, and if you want to give a rating or a review, that is helpful, and I would appreciate it very much. You can also follow me on Twitter at @ComicWillCarey. You can keep updated with my upcoming stand-up dates and shows. And if you want me to come perform in your city, let me know, because I want to party in your town, and I want to see you if you are an enjoyer of my work. So thank you guys very much for listening. And let's go to this great chat with podcaster, voiceover artist, all-around cool lady, Katharine Heller.
Is that a toilet?
Yes. So,
are we recording?
Yes, we
Great.
are.
Hi.
So that was delivered by mistake, but they refunded us. But it got refunded, so it's essentially just been here. I was trying to give it to the creek, but they ended up not needing it. So it's just kind of here until I figure out what to do with it.
I know I'm the guest, but I'm going to need you to go back a second. How did it get delivered by mistake, and was it to you?
It was delivered to us. So it was ordered, and then it wasn't delivered, and then we just got another one. So you
ordered it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was ordered, and then the logistics company are terrible. It's actually a company that was featured in a recent episode of The Daily from this week for not being great. So we ended up canceling it and going through somewhere else. And then like 3 months later, it just showed up out of nowhere.
The story changes instantly when you were like, we ordered a toilet. I just thought you signed for a toilet, thinking like, oh, it's my birthday. You know what I mean? Like, there's a toilet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
you got to keep it.
Well, in the event of because my idea of signing for stuff in big cities, it just seems like if the delivery guy shows up, it's just like, oh, well, I need someone to sign for this. And you're like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
So just whoever happens to be there is who's signing.
We trust our neighbors.
Yeah. It's Queens. I feel like Queens is a little bit different compared to the other boroughs in in New York.
What are you saying about Brooklyn, Will?
Brooklyn is changing. That's what I'm saying about Brooklyn.
Okay.
I had to leave, but I was. You live in Brooklyn now?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't that hard to get here, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. What part of Brooklyn are you?
Carroll
do you live in?
Gardens.
Carroll Gardens, nice place.
It's rent stabilized, everyone. I'm not that successful.
Oh, that's the dream right there, isn't it? I used to, when I first moved to New York, I lived in Sunset Park before it started changing. Like I was the beginning of the problem. Because I moved into Sunset Park in 2010 before it was cool. But like Astoria was already, it was like a couple $100 difference between this and Astoria. So I was like, I'll go Sunset Park.
No, I moved into Carroll Gardens. My first apartment there was in 1998. And I definitely was part of the problem. I was like, I'm here, everybody. And they was like, oh, Smith Street. Let's open some bars.
Right.
All because of me. So you're welcome, everyone.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you've been so this is 20 years in New York now?
Yes. I'm from here, though.
Oh, you
I
are
went
from
to college in Minnesota.
Oh, you were like, I think you're like maybe the second, you might be the third born and raised New Yorker I've had on the show.
Who else?
Sam Haft and Neruda Williams.
Yes, we all know each other, all of us native New Yorkers. We go to clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I don't know them. No, I was born and raised in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in the Bronx.
Boogie down.
Nice. What part of the Bronx?
In Kingsbridge on Sedgwick Avenue, which is the birthplace of hip hop, but not in the Sedgwick near where I am from, more south. That's hip hop.
Gotcha.
I was more the Jewish people and the Puerto Ricans and stuff. It was a good time.
Yeah. So you're just like, oh, mixing.
A little bit, yeah. That's why I'm a podcaster, because I was like, yes, no.
That makes perfect sense. So you got some like OG like Bronx street cred.
Yeah, I like to say that, but it's not totally true. But
so what
Bronx.
was your area of the Bronx like? Because all I know about the Bronx being like a transplant is that outside of Yankee Stadium is like, ooh, scary.
It's mixed. I mean, our neighborhood was nice, but not amazing. It's a lot of apartment buildings and co-ops and stuff, but it was safe-ish. For New York City in the 70s and 80s, it was as safe as it could be. But New York in the 70s and 80s were like, hoo boy.
Yeah, safe was safe was a relative term.
Yeah.
It's like that block is good, but if you go over to that block, that's where they stab you with broken glass.
Basically, I was told when I started walking back from the train station, don't walk by the rape stairs. And I was like, why are they called rape stairs? And they're like, because everyone gets raped there. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
But my mother just, it's a fact of life. You got to learn somehow. You got to walk home eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was walking through Prospect Heights with my lady, and she was like, "Oh yeah, former crack house. We
Is she from
think
New York?
still a crack house." Yeah, she grew up in Prospect Heights back when it was like again, just the land of stabbing and raping.
Yeah, fancy now.
Oh yeah, it's like there's those couple restaurants that have to like take the bullet for everybody else. But then sort of like when you're doing a show and like the first couple spots, they can be rough sometimes because you got to feel out the crowd. The crowd's got to get into it. And then everyone settles in and just enjoys it. And then by the end of the show, the last couple comics get priced out of the neighborhood. they get priced out of the show.
We call that prospect heightsing in our neck of in our careers. It's an awkward word for it though. It's a little long.
Yeah. I think it makes perfect sense
Heights.
though. P Heights.
I got P Heights last night.
Oh yeah. Yeah, by the time it turned into a bringer show by the time I got on stage.
Babies and strollers and dogs and all that, families.
Yeah. I have seen this recently, this prevalence of like 2:00 in the afternoon stand-up shows.
Really?
Yeah, at like
where?
QED.
Well, they do like mom shows, right?
Yeah, they do
shows?
these sort of like kid-friendly shows.
Wow.
I've started seeing more and more. That's how I know that I've been in the scene for a little while now.
I kind of want to do that, like stand up for kids. Wow.
Kids and their parents. Yeah,
but let's be honest, the kids are the best part.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any PG material you could use, or would you have to clean up some things?
I think I have some. I think I could definitely I don't have a problem not cursing. There's maybe some concepts that would be hard to explain, but I could just relate. To it in like Nickelodeon terms.
I did a family-friendly show with my theater company, the New York Neo-Futurists, upstate a few weeks ago, and we cleaned up most of the stuff, but you could tell there were certain times where it was like, oh, I forgot this. And one of my ensemble members starts the story off by saying, so I was at a sex club. And as he started the thing, you could tell he hadn't checked it. And I was at an adult party, which made it sound worse.
Right.
An adult party. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's so much more ambiguous.
Yeah,
it's like,
sex club is pretty clear.
Yeah. adult party sounds like it's also a sex club, and then like
Something else.
and then like people signing up for Obamacare.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is like a
Yes.
multiple
Paying their
thing.
mortgages while they're fucking. That's an
So
adult
so you're
party.
so you have a theater company also. Oh,
I am a member of the New York Neo-Futurists, which has been around for a while, and I'm a fairly new member. I'm in it almost 2 years now.
Oh, well,
and
that's-
yeah, they're wonderful. They do really cool, freaky performance art stuff, and it's an amazing show. It runs 50 weeks out of the year. It's a rotating ensemble cast of 18 members right now, and we take turns. We write our own material. It's from the Chicago company you may be familiar with. Too Much Light Makes a Baby Go Blind. The Neo-Futurists in Chicago. They started this 30 some odd years ago, and it's an attempt to do 30 very short plays in under 60 minutes, and the audience picks the order of the plays. And we say plays, they're short, but we write them all. Some of them are dancey, some of them are serious, some of them are monologues, some of them are funny, abstract. We have visual artists in the company who do like amazing things, and it's a really cool hour of awesome theater. So it runs all year round, and I'm in it half the year.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but we also do touring and family-friendly shows. And normally the show's at 10:30 at night on Friday and Saturday, and you can figure out what happens there.
Right.
So the family-friendly shows are a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, those are
sometimes.
like the 7, 6 o'clock, 4
Yeah.
o'clock shows.
Luckily, I write a lot of plays about dogs, so like they usually just put all those in.
Oh
call
yeah,
it a day.
I could see that.
I love dogs.
So kind of sort of like experimental stuff also.
Yeah, we've won actually nominated many times and won last year the New York Independent Innovative Theater Award, Best Performance Art.
Excellent.
Come see me get naked, you guys. I'm naked a lot in the show. It's healing.
Well, I feel like New York performance art, you got to get naked a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It's like almost a requirement, because otherwise, if you're just doing like clothed performance art in New York, I mean,
It's not right.
what are you even doing?
Gotta be
Might as well just
vulnerable
be
in
doing a
every
one-man
way.
show.
You should come sometime.
I will.
It's a freaky time.
It sounds it sounds unique.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything crazy like that in a while.
There's a
I'm
company
down.
in San Francisco, Chicago, like I said, New York, and building, and we go on tour and stuff. So look out for us.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
You'll have to give me some links so I can
I
plug
will.
that.
Oh, I'll give you the links.
Yeah. So I'm interested in kind of tracing the avant-garde spirit, because I feel like I know for my personal self that I developed a taste for weird early on, and it kind of got implanted because my mom wouldn't let me watch The Simpsons. But I was allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy, which I
Oh.
argue is much more twisted.
I agree. Did she not know?
I think she had just heard maybe The Simpsons is like, ooh, don't let your kids watch The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But and the joke I would say I say on stage is, hey, don't watch this family get through life's troubles. Watch this Puerto Rican Chihuahua abuse his life partner.
Kind of, right?
Is kind of what I would do. I mean, even though Homer Simpson's sort of like a sociopath, but
It depends on what season you're watching.
yeah, but like Ren has no redeeming qualities. He is just mean to Stimpy.
I think the parents were more like, oh, Bart's a bad influence on our kids. But like, Bart wasn't. It was like, all right, Bart's a little kid and Lisa was great and everyone had a good time.
It was the world around Bart.
Ah, yeah.
I wonder.
Not his
So
fault.
I'm curious of tracing. It's like, did you grow up in like a theatery performing household? Like what did your parents do?
Oh boy. Wow, you brought that up. My parents were, when I was younger, professional folk singers. And my mother played the auto harp, and there were dulcimers in our apartment. My dad played banjo and guitar and weird instruments. So we were forced to go to, they would sing at weddings and stuff, folk festivals. You ever seen the movie A Mighty Wind?
Yes.
That was my life. My mother and I were like crying in the theater when everyone else was like, what is this? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Macrame, dulcimers, wooden statues and stuff. So that was weird. And I still can't listen to folk music without feeling like, ugh. But my dad and my mom divorced when I was 11, and then my dad disappeared, and we don't speak. We're estranged.
Right.
And I then grew
I
up.
knew there was a reason we connected on stuff.
And then my mother was like working a ton, so I was what they call a latchkey kid, which meant I listened to Broadway show tunes all day long when I got home from school, and I wanted to be an actor. So it was the solitude that really helped me.
So I mean, this exactly the solitude. Like I've talked to like people who come from like the Midwest and like the boring parts of California, where it's just like hot and Pretty Little Liars, like basically elementary school moms plotting each other's downfall.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like there's a certain level you need that little bit of boredom to kind of drive you to seek out stuff.
Yeah.
And then get that chip implanted in your head. So what kind of musicals are we talking about?
Oh my God, everything. First of all, Miss Saigon, had no idea how problematic it was. Loved it. Les Mis, Phantom, you name it, Guys and Dolls. Ugh, yeah, I still love that stuff. And I did want to, and I still would love to be on Broadway. But as I started performing more and more and getting into the real world, quote unquote, I do love performance art. I've always kind of dug it. And when I went to college, I was able to do improv and more theater. And I dipped my toe in the whole like weird, freaky Richard Foreman kind of world. And I loved it. So I studied all different kinds of acting and Shakespeare. And I went to England and studied there. And I'm able to do these types of theater. But I just keep going back to the weird shit, and I love it. But I'm definitely open to, doing regular roles. But I like writing for myself as well.
Yeah. I find like the stuff I write is always the kind of stories I want to tell. And like that's where I could think about, because, I'm trying to be like a socially conscious person, like these ideas of representation. And I can have those thoughts of like putting in different kinds of character types and that aren't like my group of idiot friends that I might have written when I was 20. If I was writing the screenplay I'm working on now, if I was writing it when I was 20, it would have just been Clerks. But now I'm able to have a little bit more nuance and also give myself permission to stray from my real life to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
If that sort of makes sense.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's always, again, the stuff that doesn't fit into the mainstream kind of molds. Although I think I would be a great gay best friend in a romantic comedy.
Obviously, Will, you're a great actor. You have a good, face. You're funny. You're nice. I would cast you as my best friend.
Perfect.
If we weren't already super best friends right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally think I could play that role. And the way I like to keep myself humble is the best friend, not the lead, the best friend. Like I could be the guy who's like I just saw Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, yeah.
I could be the guy who is getting married, who tells the very handsome guy like, oh, but your mom, she's not going to accept her for all these reasons.
Yeah,
like,
I remember thinking to myself like, oh, I'm not the ingenue because I couldn't imagine myself to be beautiful because I was not feeling like I was. I'll be the best friend. So I was like, I'll be quirky and goofy.
Yeah.
And now that I've grown into myself, I'm like, yeah, I could be the fucking ingenue.
Totally.
I could be the lead. But so writing my own stuff is actually really rewarding too. So yeah, I dig it.
Absolutely. I would also love to do like a funny version of Waiting for Godot.
Oh my God, like how?
So I just saw HBO just did this really great documentary about Robin Williams.
I heard about this. Yeah.
And I did not know that Robin Williams and Steve Martin did Waiting for Godot.
They did.
So comedians doing Waiting for Godot. Like if I had get my one of my best comedy buds and we did Waiting for Godot, I think that could be really different and interesting.
The theater company, somebody wrote a short play about Waiting for Godot, but it was Waiting for Gun Control in the style of Godot. It was super fun. You had like the bowler hats and everything.
Yeah.
Social commentary. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, comedians, when they do serious roles, and let's just say it, Steve Carell is now like stretching that.
Yeah.
I think, and I think you know this to be true, a comedy is harder than drama.
Absolutely.
So comedians really dig being able to get real and get into things. Are they that good? Sometimes they are. Sometimes they need to be trained a little bit more, but they're able to go head first into something that most people would have a hard time grasping.
Yeah,
because they've done comedy.
Oh yeah, and I think there's a certain style of comedy where like the type of comedians that don't just say they get real but actually get real. You're used to accessing that kind of stuff and then finding like the hidden subtext and the absurdity to make it funny, because otherwise if you just go up and repeat something really sad, then it's just sad.
Or maybe they laugh at you and you're like, see, I was right. Everyone hates me.
Right.
And then they laugh some more. Story of my life.
They're all skills that I think translate well into dramatic acting.
Well, yeah. And also I was just reminded when I was younger, I was obsessed with Garfield. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Yes. And I was like, how does one write comedy? I was very young. I was very thinking about all these big world things. And I read an interview with Jim Davis and he said, I really just write about the saddest, weirdest parts of life and then put a comedic twist on it. And if you think about it, Garfield's kind of sad. Like John's kind of sad, Garfield's sad. Odie, I don't know what the deal is with Odie. Did you ever see the first special, Garfield in the Rough, where Odie goes to the pound and almost dies?
Yes, I did.
And they touch pause during goodbye, old friend. And then like,
Yes, I
that's when
cried watching that.
sobbing.
I cried
Garfield's-
watching that, and my mom ran in to the room, was like, thought that I'd like hurt myself. And
Yeah. Did I Google that recently? Yes, I fucking did. And I listened to it and cried. But you know what? Garfield is tragic.
it is. Have you ever seen? There's some artist who does Garfield, but they take Garfield out of it.
Garfield without Garfield.
And then it's just a guy,
Who
John
lives alone.
Arbuckle, talking to himself.
It's so real.
Yeah.
I did not see this conversation going this way, but I'm loving it.
Same.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it with Nermal, huh?
Nermal? I wonder if Nermal is... There's like a hidden part of him, of Jim Davis's self, that he could never tell anybody.
Yeah.
And Nermal represents that. And then everyone just shits on Nermal.
I wonder, Nermal reminds me of when a sitcom's been running for way too long. So they have a little redhead kid come in. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
yeah,
Brady
yeah.
Bunch and Different Strokes. Nermal is that redhead kid. Like, why bring this into the plot line? You didn't need to spice it up.
Yeah, they just like new characters.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah. Did Nermal have a thing? It was just like, I'm Nermal and I'm cute, right?
Yeah, she was like the cutest kitty cat. Or I actually think
I think it's a boy.
I think Nermal was a boy, but I always thought Nermal was a girl until
Because the eyelashes, right?
Yeah.
They're like kind of big. I don't know.
yeah. What if Nermal is actually a metaphor for the marginalization of queer people in society?
If I didn't love this microphone, I would drop it. That's next level. Is Jim Davis still alive?
I think he is.
Can we
Yeah.
ask him these things?
He's probably on Twitter. He could.
I kind of want to interview him.
Oh my God, that would be the best.
Can we do it together?
Yeah, we should do an entire episode. We could do a joint.
Tell the bartender and
Yeah, we could do a joint tell the bartender, like between the bartender, or like some special where we find Jim Davis.
Yes. It'll be like those crossover shows, like, again, going back to Different Strokes and Facts
Yeah.
of Life. Whenever Mrs. Garrett was like, oh, I'm here and now I'm here. Am I being too specific? I'm a
Nope.
little bit older than you, I think.
Well, the modern reference for me is now Grey's Anatomy and Station 49.
Oh, okay.
Or when the CSIs used to cross over.
Yes.
That's how I trace it. But I remember Facts of Life.
Okay.
But my filter for it is like it was on at Nick at Night, and then I saw it on all the VH1 shows. I'm sorry.
See, I watched it when it was like actually airing and Golden Girls. I'm a little bit older. I'm 92 years old, Will.
Well, you don't look 92 years old.
Thank you. I'm not. I'm 42.
Still, you're looking good. Well, like, and so you use so sitcoms were big for you early?
So big. We didn't have cable until I was like 17. So I had nothing to watch but sitcoms. And as we already established, I was home alone a lot.
Right.
Sometimes I rented porn when we finally got, guys, listen, because we didn't have internet growing up.
Yes.
That didn't exist. So I had a Commodore 64, not a joke, with the modem. I learned BASIC, like Go 210, whatever, in college when we got internet. But at home, all I had was the network shows, and I was hooked. I loved what we couldn't watch Dukes of Hazzard, but we would lie to her and tell her we weren't watching it.
Yeah.
Because it's very problematic, obviously. But I found that they say, TV, it ruins kids' minds, but I was studying the acting. I was studying the writing. I would go back in my room and like recreate things. Like I find that if someone has a creative mind, they're going to find a way not to have it, quote unquote, go to mush. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
TV for me was really exciting, and I'm really good at pop culture trivia right now. So, I learned a lot by watching TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely. Like my whole idea of stand-up before I realized I could do stand-up because was formulated by the Comedy Central Presents
Yes.
specials. Those are so important, and I'm aware of the grenade pin I'm pulling when I say this, but Bill Cosby's himself.
Yeah.
I watched that a bunch
Here's
from
the
like...
thing. You can be a rapist and still be a good comedian. There's plenty of them to go around. It's okay.
That is something I say. He's probably, I tell people now, he is the funniest rapist.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, you can't just do one big hero worship and be like, he's perfect and that's it. No. Levels, layers. As
Yeah.
I was reminded, my mother actually, I reminded her of this when Michael Jackson passed away. She loved Michael Jackson. So I called her. I was like, hey, TMZ's reporting he's dead. I don't know if it's true. And she goes, oh, that's tragic. But he probably did fuck those kids. So even she could separate. Like, what a great artist. But he definitely touched some kids, which is true.
That is, I did a show the night he died.
No.
And it was all, it was Mickey Coachella. Hi, Mickey, if you're listening.
Did everyone reference it?
Oh, that was the entire show.
Oh my God.
Nothing else except Michael Jackson. I did like a couple of my other like one-liners about that were like wordplay, but then I had like my topical Michael Jackson thing, and then the feature was all Michael Jackson, and the headliner was all like,
wow.
Yeah, he was, the most talented kid fucker.
But we can say that, so don't worry about that grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
And for the longest time, I was like I love Demetri Martin for like setup punchline. That's because that's how my brain works. And then I always wanted to be able to do long form storytelling stuff. So that was like a big deal to kind of make that transition.
Me too. And that's how we met originally.
Yes.
I was dipping my toe in that.
Yeah, in the storytelling scene here in New York. So I kind of want to trace this a little bit. I want to trace it up to that point. So you studied theater in England.
Yeah, I did a sabbatical there. Not sabbatical, semester. What am I, a professor?
Oh, okay.
I did a semester there.
Okay.
But I studied at Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yes.
I did theater there, and I also did improv. And I founded the school's improv troupe, which is still there 20 some odd years later. And I just performed with them at my reunion.
Nice.
With a bunch of kids. It was so fun. They're so young, these college kids.
Oh my God. Every time I go to like an open mic, or I'm like waiting for a show after the open mic ends, I know, I feel like I just feel like a substitute teacher.
Yes.
And I'm just like, and then sometimes I'm like, you kids, there weren't any female only open mics when I started. Everyone got thrown together and everyone ignored each other equally.
Oh, hey kids, get on my lawn. Yeah, no, it's true. And so I graduated and I moved back to New York. And
was college in Minnesota cool? You didn't like lose your mind in the Midwest or anything?
Loved it. Well, I also chose it because that's where Mystery Science Theater is filmed. So I had a thing about Minnesota. I can't drive, and you didn't need a car out there really because the bus system was great. It was very dense. The campus is beautiful, and it's the second biggest. Minneapolis St. Paul has the second biggest theater district next to New York. There's so much theater, like Broadway style, like Guthrie, all the way down to these really cool, just really cool plays and stuff like that, and companies. And I loved it. And I, of course, came back to New York because it was my home, but I wasn't sure where I was going to move to next. And that's when I started auditioning some more. And I ended up doing a lot more improv and sketch comedy while also doing some regular theater and film and TV stuff. And then voiceover. And eventually I, just kept building my resume. And it took a long time, but I'm near to where I wanted to be when I was younger.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So when you get back to New York, what's sort of the what year is this?
1998. So first I gentrify Carroll Gardens, and then I take over the world now. I just started auditioning for anything I saw in backstage, got headshots done by some creepy dude. But in hindsight, of course, I was like, it's the cheapest. And he had like naked ladies everywhere. I was like, do I? I mean, they were okay headshots in hindsight.
Yeah. I just feel like every dude with a photographer, it's like a roll of the every dude who calls himself a photographer, it's sort of like a roll of the dice. Like, are you? Am I going to end up living in this basement for 10 years?
Will I be a skin suit? I don't know. I mean, and I had street smarts, so I knew he was shady, but I didn't care because I had no money. I was like, oh well.
There's a certain level of shadiness. Be like, I'll put up with a lot of shadiness for a good deal. The same way, like I'm trying to do this bit where I talk about like how good your barbecue has to be for how racist a thing you can say to me.
Whoa. Wow.
Like if your barbecue is if your barbecue is terrible, you need to be quiet.
Obviously.
But if your barbecue is amazing, then yes, I will hear some of your strange ass terrible theories.
That is very interesting. I definitely do that with I've dated parents and stuff, like how much of the family will you put up with for how good the person is and how good the sex is. Is it worth it? Sometimes you just got to be like, I'll let that slide. But I don't know.
Well, I will just say I have had some wild, freaky, satisfying sex with Republicans. I'm just gonna say. Oh, because it's all that repression,
I am.
And also Catholics.
I actually am setting up a threesome with this Republican dude and his wife, and it's going to be such a hate fuck. But I really want to have a successful threesome, you guys, and it's just been slipping through the cracks. I tell a story on stage. I don't know if you heard my threesome story, one of my many failed threesome stories.
It's been a while. I don't know if I've heard this one.
It was a few years ago. Anyway.
Yeah.
My mind just went somewhere.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Will?
I'm doing great. You'd think there'd be a lot of I'm with her in the threesome wanting community, but I guess it's all lock her up.
Oh. Wow. Hashtag not me too. Not me yet. Not me yet.
These are the kind of thoughts I have that I don't put on Facebook because I don't want to get in a 100 comment argument.
Right, but you'll put it out in the ether for everyone to hear all over the world.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because that way I know people are listening.
Oh, that's great.
And that means they'll have gotten 27 minutes in. So
do it for the hits.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, excellent. What about you? Successful threesome or no?
Never had a threesome. Was dating a bi girl who did say she'd be open to it, but no, never had a threesome. But I did sleep with a stripper. That was fun. We were also living together at the time, so choices I've made.
Dating or?
No, we were just. It was when I first moved to New York, and we were roommates, and I don't know what was going on with her life, but I have a history of being in the right place at the right time.
Oh, don't be so self-deprecating.
Yeah,
you deserve the good things.
Yeah, let's see. Also banged somebody's fiance once.
Were they in an open relationship?
I found out later, but she didn't phrase it to me that way first.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those.
But it didn't work out. It worked out for me. It didn't work out for them.
Obviously, it worked out for you. You're doing great.
Yeah.
Where are they right now? Oh, boy.
Not in the United States. I'll tell you more.
They got deported because of you. I'm just going to start making up lies about you. Be like, well, did you hear that he deported a couple after fucking the wife?
That'd make the story so much more interesting.
Yeah, it sure would.
So what kind of stuff did you start doing early on, like theater-wise?
Real shitty theater. Oh, boy. Really bad stuff. Some stuff that I learned a lot from.
Yeah.
I've learned not to audition for certain things. I've learned about protocol for auditions and how if they're going to treat you like shit at the audition, you do not want to work for them. At the time, I'd got it, resume builder, but it's just people really take advantage of people new in the business. So
they sure do.
Yeah, so I go out of my way whenever I either hold auditions for things I've written or produced, and I became a playwright later on as well, and I've done a couple of shows, but every time I hold an audition or I'm working with a friend at an audition, I make sure that we have a monitor, even if it's not union. Like, everything has to be professional, and we got a lot of great feedback every time I run auditions of like, hey, just thanks for not being weird. Literally, people just being like, hey, thanks for a nice experience. Because these people are willing to do anything. And that doesn't mean that you should be mean to them. But I just feel so badly for people who get treated like shit.
Oh my God.
And I was one of them, to be fair. So.
Yeah. And I think that's why like the live comedy hasn't really changed much in the last 30 years. It's because I think it's because the way like spot pay hasn't really increased and like feature pay hasn't really increased. I think it's because there's an endless supply of people willing to be taken advantage of for stage time.
I know.
It's only through time that you start to go, okay, I'm not willing to do that anymore to get on stage. I'm not willing to do that anymore to get on stage.
Now, I don't do stand-up though, right?
I know, but I feel like there's some cross.
Because I'm nodding like,
crossover.
yeah, the pay hasn't gone up. Like, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, a lot of stuff hasn't changed now, and same with pro wrestling. No, I'm kidding.
I just want to make it clear to the audience in case they're like, Catherine's not a stand-up. I'm like, guys, just so you know, I know you know Will, but heads up.
Do you still do a lot of storytelling stuff?
I do some, but I've been so busy lately with the theater company and my podcast stuff, but I miss it. It's been at least 7 months since I've done one, and I really, really want to go back to it because it's just fun. It's just really, really fun, and the community is so nice. I meet people like you, and I really dig it, so I haven't done any lately. I did some stuff for David Lawson. He's wonderful.
Yep, I love David. Yeah. He's great.
We love David. Can we all just talk about David for a second?
He's great. He was episode number 1.
Yeah, he's amazing. Show. He like really gives back to community, and he's so kind. Yeah.
He's. I've got nothing but good things to say about that guy. He's, and also super prolific and like always putting out a bunch of new stuff and always doing new things. And he's always looking to help people.
He makes me want to work harder.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig him. Yeah.
I did do stand-up once, and it was a competition because I was dared, and I ended up winning. So I like to say that I did try stand up once. I'm retired and I won.
You won stand up. That's great.
I won $300.
I mean, that's like 10 years worth of pay for most
Nothing to sneeze
comedians.
at. So yes, Will, tell me about how you don't get paid for spots as I roll in these $100 bills from my one night of 2-minute stand up. I kind of want to do it though. I mean, it is sort of like storytelling. There are places where you can test things out.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And there's cool rooms where you can definitely like, stretch your legs as opposed to having to go up and like bang out like 9:30 like on a Friday night late kind of shows.
Set up joke.
Yeah. So I'm let's see if I could trace this. So you're like any kind of gig, just kind of scraping for the gigs. What kind of voiceover stuff have you done? Because that's something I want to do more of.
Well, non-union or union. Great.
Whatever's most
Before I joined the
memorable.
union, I had the opportunity to do things for hotels and, certain spots. I am union now, but back in the day, the one thing I got my toe into was Japanese animated pornography. I did the voices. And if you go on RedTube or YouPorn or Pornhub, you might be able to find some of my movies. And I know because I once Googled, I'm into hentai now a little bit, you guys. And I once heard myself and I was like, whoa, that's weird. Do I love myself that much? It's awkward. So I had a fake name.
Right.
They all choose fake names, and the way they do it is it's the first letter of your first name and the first letter of your last name. And Katharine Heller, I call myself Kendall Harrison. And Kendall Harrison has a fan page somewhere, so go figure. So that's how I got into the first part of voiceover. And then regular cartoons.
I have always thought of all of the voiceover jobs, and especially because I love anime, just like not even just the non-pornographic, non-hentai stuff. So I've always thought that I'm imagining a voiceover movie is just you and a director maybe. So you have to go and you have to match up to the screen. It's like, okay, now remember you are a vampire succubus. And semen is your food.
And it's not just the lines, because you don't have that many lines. It's the breathing and the breathing dick
and
sucking. You have to do it to the beat of what they're doing while a dude is on a mixer and you're all by yourself in this booth watching porn for an hour or so. It pays really well, though. At the time, it was like $60 an hour, which to me...
Damn, that's really good.
Yeah, early 2000s, I was like, I'm rich. And then you get to watch porn. It's a workout, though.
I imagine
your
so.
Your diaphragm really gets...
Yeah, it's just all that heavy breathing and
a lot of
sounds.
Yeah. The lines, I only had a couple of lines here and there. It was a weird storyline. But it was like, doctor, I'm so sorry, or something like that.
Right.
But that was about it. It was about the porn.
Yeah, sounds about right. And then the doctor comes in and punishes like your asshole or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a chapter on the DVD. Yes, I still have the DVD called Pussy Omelet. Can I say this on your show?
Of course.
Where it's all consensual, by the way. I didn't do any rape porn because I was like, can't do that. But consensual in the way of ooh, it's dangerous and I like it. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So she's getting punished, and the good doctor, puts some eggs in her vagina, right? And then duct tapes her vagina and fucks her in the ass so you can feel the eggs moving around.
Right.
Chapter selection, Pussy Omelet. There's another one called Cell Bone. Would you like to hear about that one?
Yes.
Well, you can probably all play along at home, but if you guessed, does she have phone sex with the doctor and put her flip phone in her vagina? You've guessed correctly.
Flip phone.
And then she's like, come on, speak more, doctor. I want to hear your voice inside me. That was a line I remember. I had a much higher pitched voice back then. It was, anyway. So now when I sing.
That would be perfect for overdubbing and hentai because it's all high pitched,
Oh, it is. Yeah. That was my voice. Yeah, but whenever I sing karaoke and sing We Belong, that line, I feel your voice inside me, I can't help but think. So you're just flip phones in the back.
I am so glad we're talking about this, and I had no idea we were going to.
I only remember I did this every 5 years when I'm on a random show, and they're like, oh, voiceover. And I'm like, oh, right. I should tell that story on stage about getting into it.
I think you should, because I bet if anyone listens to this, tweet to Katharine. I want to know more, and tweet to me also.
Yes, I'm at SPK Heller,
and I'm at Comic Will Carry.
Yes, you are.
Wow. That's so that's again like one of those gigs you're just like, just paying the dues.
Yeah, but also there was there's narrative value. When I got into it, I was like, this is funny. This will be funny someday. And it was
God, yeah.
But it got me into the next thing. So then the director saw that I was good at the other things and got me auditions for bigger things.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. Actually, if you want to get into it, it's a lot of networking. And once you're in, then you're in like the fold. But it's hard to get in. But people are very loyal in that industry. Once you've done a lot of work, they get to know you and they just keep casting from the same people.
Oh yeah. There's like 12. Like my favorite anime right now. Like the dub cast, like every other popular anime right now. Do you know this guy Bryce Papenrock?
I don't know. I don't do any cartoons as much anymore now that I'm union and have a kick-ass agent. So I do like narration and commercials.
And that. Well, he does like every big anime. He does like 3 or 4 of like the super popular in U.S. anime. So that, and then like I'm gonna mispronounce her name, but I really want to interview her. Charmaine Lee. She voices like the cool badass heroine in this show I love.
Oh, which show?
It's called Sword Art Online.
Okay.
It's about kids who get trapped inside a virtual reality video game, and if you die in the game, you die in real life, and the only way to get out of the game is to beat the game.
It's like Space Camp, which I just watched again recently. You're too old for this. The movie Space Camp. Everyone check it out.
I've never heard of it before, so
these kids get launched into space. They were at camp, but it turns out the rocket takes off when they did a test. They have to get themselves out of space. Space Camp. I won't tell you how it ends.
Sounds good. So I will need to watch that along with the list you're going to give me off air of all the porn you dubbed.
I'll tell you, Angel Blade, Night Shift Nurses. Go ahead and Google it.
All right,
good time.
Sounds good. I don't know if it's weird to say. I was like, yeah, that very specific thing you did. I'm going to check that out later.
I don't care. That's fine. It's funny to me, and it's a good memory of a time where I started to get paid to do things.
Yeah, and those are always great. Like my first paid gigs were. I played a jock in like a responsible drinking video that was shown at colleges, and me and the other guy didn't drink at the time, and we were drinking O'Doul's, and neither of us could keep it down, so they poured it out, and we were just chugging water.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I was in a children's play in Arlington, Virginia called The Armadillo Song. That was my other first paid gig.
What did you play?
The Armadillo.
Oh, does it sing?
Well, he wants to sing, but he can't sing very well. So maybe that's why I got cast, because my singing voice isn't the greatest. And then he learns his strength is I can't remember the exact name of the instrument, but he plays an instrument, and then he and the other characters, they sing a song at the end, and the kids were really into it.
That is so sweet.
It was fun.
I did children's theater too. It's really rewarding.
Yeah.
What they don't want you to do, and I found this out the hard way, I used to smoke cigarettes. I played a really small part in one of the shows, and I went around the corner to like smoke a cigarette after the show, and this one kid really wanted to meet me because they wanted to be a police officer. And like they saw me smoking in my police officer uniform, and I was like, oh no.
I was very conscious. Yeah, I was very conscious of that. But like the kid, the way I thought about it is like I remember seeing like little plays in school and stuff. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I could inspire some kids to get into the arts or something.
Oh, that's great.
That's how I was thinking about it.
So you want to get into voiceover? You were saying.
Yes. This picture from an anime that I love. I specifically very much want to get into like the animation world.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm into. Like I've heard Darren Dunstan's class is very good, so I'm going to do that.
I can give you some names as well.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
I know people who are casting directors who give amazing classes, but they actually genuinely are looking for a new talent.
Oh, great.
They actually do bring people in. And they're really good at what they do. Well, there's a couple people. I'll give you names.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the podcast.
Yes.
Let's talk about how that got started. I assume you're a fan of podcasts.
Yeah. I like them.
Yeah, as do I. And yours is cool. I like, again, those storytelling elements, and there's like a little bit more editing, like on like the public radio shows, there's a little bit more music involved, and I like that.
I love doing it. It's very labor intensive, but I love it. But I'm only doing it about once a month now. I also have another podcast, the advice show, the Strugglebus, and I have a co-host for that too. So it's so fun. But I also started a podcast production company to make money.
Nice.
So I produce amazing podcasts as well, and I have some wonderful clients. And I don't know. I love the medium. Anyone can do it. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to be like pointing at you as like, you're nobody, you can do it. But I mean, it's actually a lot easier than you would think once you figure it out. You know, there's things to know, but it's accessible. And I just love helping people open up to that world. And, you know, there's no competition. A rising tide lifts all boats. There can be so many amazing podcasts out there, and it helps all of us. It benefits all of us to like promote each other and to be on each other's shows because people just enjoy it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I love doing my show, but I love to be on other people's shows
Me
also. It's like
too.
such a great time. It's just like, because something I've found is this kind of conversation I don't have very often. Like if I was to just like call you and be like, hey, Katharine, come and tell me about the Japanese hentai you dubbed, that's weird and weird ask.
Well, who knows? No, but you know, that's a really good point. We're not at a bar. There's no crowd around us. There's no music. We're at to yell. We're having a nice conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the kind of like opening up that like doesn't happen in like, especially in the comedy community. Like I think I had a lot of friends who knew me very well and I really don't.
Really?
Yeah, like I have some, but I think most people just know me from being on stage.
Well, you're also I was listening to some other episodes of your show. You're a really good interviewer. And that's a really hard thing to do sometimes.
Oh, thanks.
I had to get better at myself. And yeah, you're really out of the gate really strong. I feel so comfortable right now.
Oh,
I'm
good,
on your
good.
therapy couch.
Ah, yes.
Listeners can't hear this, but I'm taking my shoes off. Oh, there goes the bra. I am so cozy. No, you're really easy to talk to. And,
that's good.
That's good to have as a podcast host.
Yeah, that's something that's a quality I like to think of myself as having. So when you started Tell the Bartender, did you have the format in place?
Yes and no. I was jealous like 6 some odd years ago. All my friends, 2 of my friends had a podcast. And I was like Keith and the Girl, and Radio Dispatch, my friends John and Molly Neffel.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I kind of want to get into this because I want to just do it. I love radio shows, old radio shows.
Yeah.
And I bought some equipment that was tax deductible because my voiceover stuff, so I can, audition at home.
Right.
If need be. And I just took Molly out for drinks and I was like, how do you do it? And she's like, just get this. And I taught myself. But then I found I really just loved the putting music in and the layers and the production of it and interviewing people and getting to meet people. So I wasn't quite sure what the show was going to be or what it was going to be called. I just knew I wanted to do a show.
Yeah.
And I really like the Ted Leo song, Bottled in Cork, where he goes, Tell the Bartender. And I was like, oh, that's a great name. And I actually emailed him and I have the right to use the song and the title. He said it was fine. And so, I don't know, I just started interviewing people and then, I used to bartend. So I found that the most interesting people sometimes aren't the ones at the storytelling shows. Like The Moth used to be, a janitor can get up here and tell a story. But now it's like there's a lot of celebrity involved. But some of the best stories I heard were from non-celebrities at the bar who had fascinating stories but would never go on a storytelling show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I had a guy on he would never get up on stage. People are scared to do that. But he found out later in life that his birth father, he was adopted, is Ted Nugent. And like he would never do The Moth. You know what I mean? He was too shy to even, interview for a newspaper. Like it was a big story and he's like, it's not my thing. But he did my show because he's like, well, you're easy to talk to.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I started doing it, is I wanted to get just cool stories from, and I have performers on as well because I'm in that world.
Sure.
But it's really about the story. I don't need the fame. I don't need the big name.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Finding out your dad's Ted Nugent. Yeah, that's a incredible.
The episode's
story.
called I Didn't Know I Was Nugent. Real proud of that title. It's I really, really enjoy it. So it's a labor of love.
And those people, like they always have like the most interesting stories. And I feel like the bartending aspect of it is like, because again, that's like your modern day therapist.
Oh yeah.
That's like the therapy for people who can't afford the therapy because our healthcare system is so wackadoo.
People use it all the time. I bartended after 9/11 and it was so hard, but I would just hear these stories and people were using that outlet as, Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because if you're from New York and you came back in '98, I imagine you were here.
I was already, I was. And I was bartending at the time. And I had to work a lot of shifts because some of the bartenders who lived in Manhattan couldn't get into Brooklyn at the place I was working at because they'd closed down all the bridges and subways for a few days and stuff. So we were working overtime, and it was just a lot of really hard things to hear. A lot of the, the people who were rescuing or like in the search and rescue team would come and have a drink and like see, talk about what they saw, which is really graphic.
Oh my God.
Sorry, guys, it's taking a turn, but
see, CNN isn't going to have bartending on 9/11.
Hell no.
And dubbing Japanese hentai.
Hey, you know what? Best of both worlds. Am I right? No, it was a fascinating experience. And I spoke to my mother, who's a psychologist, and I was like, I'm having a really hard time listening to these stories. And she's like, Katharine, even therapists need therapists. Like, you should be wanting to talk to somebody about what you're hearing. It's disturbing.
Yeah.
And she gave me some good advice there. So,
What was that advice?
Well, that you are disturbed because this is very disturbing, and so you don't need to feel badly about hating these stories. Because I was like, I can't go back there and hear stories again tonight. And she's like, yeah, that is the correct reaction because it's traumatizing. Having said that, you're helping people, and just think of it that way and go back into therapy, Katharine.
Right.
Basically. But she's a sweetheart. She was actually in the city that day, downtown, and she was working at a school as a not guidance counselor, but she would work part-time at the school. And I freaked out. And when I finally was able to call her, I was like, Mom, you got to come to Brooklyn. They want to attack Brooklyn, but they're attacking Manhattan because we didn't know how many more planes are out there. We didn't know what was next. And she goes, Katharine, if I die saving children or helping them out in some way, it's worth it. I was like, no. But she wasn't worried. She's like, these kids are waiting for their parents to pick them up. And some of their parents may not pick them up. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So she was like, just relax. I'll survive today. It was, she was pretty chill about it.
Yeah. Wow, what a beautiful Zen way to go about it. Oh, yes, that's my...
hello. Hi.
That's Chelsea.
Nice to meet you. Is this the decorator?
Yes.
I love what you've done to the place.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we'll be done like 10 minutes.
Please. We're talking about 9/11. It's hilarious. No. But, she really put my mind in a good perspective.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, my job is to help these kids today, and that's why I'm here. So
that's an incredibly Zen way of looking about it. Reminds me of when Fukushima happened. Elderly people were volunteering to go in the most heavily radiated areas because it's like, I'm old.
Yeah,
I should go and do it.
Yeah, it's really
her dad was buying a muffin.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something worse, like died in there.
No, he was buying a muffin. The second plane hits. He finishes paying for the muffin, walks out of the store, and gets back on the train to Brooklyn.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone was in shock. It was really
it was
bad.
like literally... Yeah, I've heard her tell that story. It is insane. And then the one silver line, this is the punchline to relieve the end, is her mom, who's very nice but very health conscious, was like, at the end of the day when everyone was accounted in their family was accounted for, was just like, I wish I'd eaten more Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's
that's
true. I didn't think I was going to live to see the next year of my birthday. I thought this is it.
Yeah.
We're going to go to war. I was right about the war part. It's rough.
Yeah.
Time.
But and again, this is like the disaster side of the show that I like to do.
Yes.
And again, just that advice and the kind of advice your mom gave you is just, it's almost like you're acting like there's this like stain on the on shirt from someone's like bleeding heart, and you're like the sponge helping just blot out the stain.
Yeah. Another thing she taught me, and I use this till this day, because the news can be fucking overwhelming, especially now and such. I was obsessively reading about 9/11 and watching TV when I had, some downtime, and just refreshing whatever Hotmail at the time I had,
Sure.
And she said, Katharine, you need to stop doing that, because you're doing it because you think that makes you have control over the situation that you don't have control over. When you oversaturate your brain with a topic or a thing or a refreshing, it's because you think in some way you can help control the frenetic, energy or whatever the word I'm looking for is, you know what I mean? But you can't. And you have to understand that you can help people in small doses and do little things, but you cannot, you're not in charge of this. And that's
Yeah.
when I start to obsess over a news item. I always remember, like, I'm not in charge of this. I should be aware of things.
Mm-hmm.
But no need to refresh that one more time. No need to read that article that you already read, so.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. And I feel like someone is maybe especially in the entertainment community, because if you're going out on endless streams of auditions, you have no control over even if you are amazingly talented, you have no control over what the director thinks they want.
Totally.
Or what they're seeing for their project. And that's why and I always come back to this as well, there's a real healthy aspect of having something that you do have control over, like be it a creative thing,
a podcast,
a podcast, or maybe you run a show, maybe you have something that at least keeps that little sanity checker.
Yeah, and
clicked.
I love diving into Tell the Bartender and editing, and I take out things here and there, I tighten stories up, putting in music in. It's so fun. It's so indulgent. It's so fun.
Yeah.
But and that is the one thing I have control over, so I can maybe help people that way, or get a message out or something. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's something Adam Senk was telling me. He did the show recently, and he's actually he might have already done it, but he did his last stand-up show after 15 years, and he's putting all his energy into the podcast.
Wow.
And he has a very mature, focused way of looking at moving on, essentially.
Yeah, you got to know when to let go sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've definitely put acting to the side when I was doing other things, sometimes knowing I could go back to it. I didn't do theater for a while, and then I got back into it. You can always return. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you always can. And especially I think, and maybe since I've been gotten a little bit older, what's the best way to phrase this? It is worth the effort, finding where the effort is worth it. Maybe I don't need to do 5 crappy open mics every single night of the week. Maybe I can do a couple of solid shows and then put some time into getting some more shows and scheduling my own thing.
Yeah. And you never know when something's going to hit. You just got to be ready for it. You could be an overnight success, quote unquote, even though you've worked your entire life for this moment. You got to get ready for it. And you never know when something's going to hit big. Your podcast takes off, or some agent sees you and wants to cast you in a thing. So just know that could be around the corner. So until then, just get all the experience, enjoy yourself, learn from your mistakes. You can give up something temporarily, just get ready, get your body ready for when and if you hit big.
Absolutely. And that's because, and this is a quote I always come to, is that luck is just preparation meets opportunity. And for so long we're in the preparation mode. But now that I'm really aware of what I love and what I want, and I've got some peace around other, some stuff, it's, I feel more ready now more than ever to go and say this is what I want, and this is how I'm going to do it. And animation is one of those things.
I love that, and I think you have a great voice.
Thank you.
If I could help you in any way, I'll let you know. But some of my clients occasionally need voiceover artists for their opening, intro, whatever. And now so and so, and that's paid. So I'll keep you in mind.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
I can send you stuff anytime.
Yeah, dude.
This has been really.
You're
this has been
so
really
great.
nice.
Well, I was so happy you reached out, because I was like, I like Will. I like that guy.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I was like, I like that lady.
I
She's
don't
cool.
travel on the train for too many people. But for you, you got it.
That's the quote I'm going to put in the press kit for the podcast. I don't travel on the train for too many people, but I will for Will Carey's podcast.
Yeah, maybe a few hundred, but Will's one of them.
Excellent. Thank you, Katharine.
Thank you, Will.
I didn't expect to talk about half the things that we did when we sat down to do this interview, but man, that is one of the most fun, memorable conversations I've had recently. So I'm glad I could share that with you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you joined the show, we are on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, as well as Libsyn syndication, my preferred RSS hosting provider. Thank you guys very much for listening. Please, if you enjoyed the show, tell a friend, leave a rating or a review, or if you're listening on Stitcher, add us to your favorites list. I've heard that helps our the rankings on that site. So thank you guys very much for listening. Please check out my website, willcareyisfunny.com, and also follow me on Twitter at comicwillcarey to keep updated with my upcoming stand-up dates in New York City and beyond. Thank you guys very much for listening, and I will see you next week between awesome and disaster.